Trump and Netanyahu came out and boasted that they had destroyed Iran's missile capabilities, only to come back literally 8 months later and say, oh, actually, maybe we didn't. Now we need to go to war all over again. So, given the costs are pretty massive of this war, do you see any upside? Can you see, perhaps better than I can, what has actually been achieved? I'm not saying nothing has. Clearly, the Iranian regime and its military has been weakened to an extent, but not that much on the face of it. And the cost of this war, right now at least, looks like it's going to be huge and long-lasting. So what has been achieved, and has it been worth it, in your view? Give me a call this evening, 0345 6060 973, the number to call or WhatsApp. You can text me on 84850 or say, Alexa, send a comment to LBC. We'll get the thoughts of a former British Army colonel in just a moment. First, though, Simon Marks joins me, LBC's Washington correspondent. Simon, very good evening to you. Let's start with those slightly contradictory comments from Donald Trump on this conflict. Not for the first time, it must be said. It's over, it will be over soon, but it's not over yet. Evening, Simon.
Evening to you, Ben. Constant contradictions coming from the Trump administration now for a week and a half of this conflict, with the president again today hinting in comments to the website Axios that it's going to be wrapped up soon, but of course he never defines what soon actually means. Meanwhile, his defense secretary Pete Hegseth was saying yesterday that over the ensuing 24 hours, Iran was going to be on the receiving end of the most intense American military bombardment it had yet endured. And as the president left the White House today to head off on campaign swings through Ohio and Kentucky, a reporter, as he was departing, asked him an absolutely apposite question about what exactly the nature of any kind of American victory might look like.
Can you declare victory in this war if the supreme leader remains the Ayatollah's son?
I don't want to comment on that. I don't want to comment. But I will tell you, I just spoke with various countries, the leaders of various countries. You'll have a list. And they said they've never seen anything like it. We have, and I built it during my first term, and I used it. I didn't realize I was going to use it this much, but we have the greatest military in the world.
Now, the idea that you can simply evade answering the question about whether you can declare victory at a point where the son of the late Ayatollah is now Iran's supreme leader, a man who, by all accounts, was, even before the war began, more radicalized than his father, very close to the murderous Revolutionary Guards, and now absolutely animated by what supporters of the regime argue is the martyrdom of the late supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, his father, and also the martyrdom of other family members, including the son's own wife. So the notion that victory can be declared, America's going to have some kind of mission accomplished moment after unleashing over $6 billion worth of munitions on Iran, leaving the munitions stockpile here very significantly depleted, by the way, and facing the prospect, as the president himself has conceded, of possible terror strikes on the American homeland by an Iranian regime that may well still be in power after whatever his military withdrawal looks like. Well, those, of course, are questions that are not going to go away. And other questions that are not going to go away relate to the economic cost that Americans are paying. The price of diesel has surged over $1 a gallon over the past month in 25 of America's 50 states, and the national average price of petrol has reached $3.59 a gallon. That's its highest level since May 2024, up nearly 50 cents since this military action began. Now, President Trump agreed today with G7 leaders that they're going to release some of their respective petroleum reserves to try and control the price of oil. However, that's not an easy a pure win here because the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in the United States is depleted. He said last year he was going to replenish it fully, and then he didn't do it. So there are concerns about just how impactful any release from the American Strategic Petroleum Reserve can be. But listen to President Trump today in Ohio, trying to reassure Americans worried about the amount of money they're suddenly having to fork out to fill their cars.
Prices are coming down very substantially. Oil will be coming down. That's just a matter of war. That happens you can almost predict it. I would say it went up a little bit less than we thought. It's going to come down more than anybody understands.
It's just a matter of war. And this is the president who is supposed to be, in the words of his own White House strategists, laser focused on conveying to the American public that he feels their pain about the real state of the economy in this country just months before crucial midterm elections, Ben, that of course are going to determine the balance of power up on Capitol Hill and whether he can still rely on Republican majorities.
They absolutely are. And you would think that this issue is going to be forefront of a lot of US voters' minds as those speed towards us. Simon, thank you very much indeed. Simon Marks, LBC's Washington correspondent.